Okay, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. So the first thing I want to do today, as we all know, this is Veterans Day. So I would like all of my veterans to stand and be recognized. And we do have some special guests today, but I'll get to those when we get to the guests. So as we always start off with happy bucks, I'm looking for Ryan. I just talked to him a second ago.
Happy bucks.
All right, Rotarians, I'm sure this time of the year there's lots of happy news to share. If you have happy news to share and have a buck or two to spare, we would love to share your news. You can spare $1 or $2 for the cart buckets. Oh, and we have, see, here we go.
You need a cart bucket.
I need a cart bucket. Right there. Who else? I have more happy bucks here.
I'm happy today because my father invited me to his 70th West Point reunion from the spring. I to experience that with him and his wife.
Wow.
Okay, Dad. I think you dropped a new 20 out there, Matthew.
Also, in order to piggyback from Christina's comment, I want to say that I'm happy because my daughter and Jane Dyer have the exact same birthday. As y'all might know, it's the same day, but it's not the same.
Same hospital, of course. Yeah, that's it. That's right. That's right.
Oh, Good afternoon. I am happy that I will be traveling to Western New York in a couple of days to visit family. My mother's birthday is on Sunday the 16th. And I'm having to report that it is much colder up there. Than it is here. I'm close to keep that brother up there when I return.
Oh, good.
At least you got your jackets already out here. Kenny?
I'm happy to say that I get to go to the swamp rabbit game tomorrow with a kindergarten class from Alexander. So I'm always looking for some chaperones to help with their classes, and you can help with that if you like at any time. Just talk to me. I'm going to help you to coordinate that. And then also looking for some lunch buddies. If you can do once a week for some cafeteria to chat with a child, talk to me. Thank you for that.
A totally relaxing night taking kindergartners to the hockey game. That is. Come on, get out of your comfort zone and do it.
Few happy votes for November. My 2-year wedding anniversary was on the 4th, and my birthday is this weekend. I'm happy about both of those things. And for those of you who have not done the math, for all of us that have a birthday this week, it's exactly 9 months after Valentine's Day. And let me tell you, I was really stressed out when I figured that out.
Do the math on the mouth and figure it out there.
Hi, I'm so glad my friend Brian on the board is here. We connected recently and we see on the Junior Achievement Board together with Tanya Lansel, which she was the director of Junior Achievement back then, so that was kind of special. And also wanted to thank y'all for coming to Denver Downs Farm. We had a great season this year and we wrapped up on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this is a happy table over here. Bring it on. Okay.
I'm happy that my sister from California is coming out to visit me this weekend after our mother passed away at the beginning of October. It's been Heather. And I'm happy that I am able to help read at Alexander's Elementary, meeting a very good group of kids. And so that's been a very positive and wonderful experience doing that.
Hope your sister enjoys her time in Greenville. Bring her a Rotary meeting too. Why not?
Little share of joy in our household. I have a grandson who has got Williams syndrome and autism, so he's 7 years and has not been verbal, never said mommy, never said daddy. We had him over at the house the other night, and he kind of wandered off into another room, and I said, "What are you up to, Thomas?" He went, "Nothing."
Oh, wow.
I have 2 happy bucks. My son, who was stationed over in Poland, is back in country now, so I'm happy to have him back. And he has just gotten a promotion. He was the medical officer over a battalion. Now he's a medical officer over a brigade. So I'm excited for him and his abilities to develop.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for your service. Thank you to all of our veterans here today as well. Rob, and I think a couple of, I see Cash everywhere, I love it.
I'm happy to report that I have returned from Nepal, 40 hours of travel on Sunday night, where we did, I gave $2. We worked with the Rotary Club of Chitwan in Nepal, and they were our partners in creating a health camp up in a mountain village. We took care of 600 to 700 people, mostly children, and it was really great. And I'm glad to be back here so I can introduce our speaker.
Thank you, welcome home, Rob. Sir, Rob.
First, Christine stole mine, but happy birthday. I still felt the need, so I'm gonna say that I'm very happy that Clemson finally won a hundred.
Thank you, Rob. Remember, folks, you can always cheer for the Presbyterian College Blue Hose, only one loss on the season.
To call Scott on his son's contribution. My son, Johnny Clark, is coaching Johnny O'Brien as a high school coach, northwest suburbs of Chicago from high school. And he's the coach, the person he's coaching is going to be probably the first quarterback as a freshman for starting next year at Northwestern. And last meeting, I said, okay, our team is, Johnny's team is ranked 5th in the state. And right now, we're undefeated in the playoffs, and they're in the quarterfinals. I gave you $5 last week, last meeting. I'm giving you $4 for quarterfinals. If they make it semifinals, you'll get $2. And if they win the championship, and I hope you pray for them as well as the offense, well, that's more important. But the thing is, if they win the championship, I guarantee you'll have an around with at least 2 zeros.
All right.
It could be very good.
We get to decide where the decimal point goes here. Any other happy bucks? Any other happy bucks? Tons of happy news to share. Thank you all for sharing your happy news, and thank you for being part of the Rotary Club.
Thank you so much, Brian. Okay, I've got, like I said, I've got special guests here today. I'm gonna start with Jane since she is the birthday girl. Yay.
Hi, thank you. I'd like to introduce to those you have not met, my husband, John Dyer. He's here on Veterans Day. He is a combat pilot from Vietnam. And for those of you with military will know by 7 distinguished flying crosses, a Purple Heart, and 23 air combat missions. So thank you.
Likely to be smart. Yeah, it's on. My friend Ryan Burbank, he is. He's done took a job in AED, the payroll service here in the area, and he's looking to learn more about Rotary and to make connections in the upstate.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Bill, you've got a special guest today.
I'd like to introduce my friend, classmate with 46 from Greenville High, 50 to 51 from Clemson. He's a tax offender of been during the Korean War. I'd like to introduce Major General retired U.S. Army B.K. Sutton. He was also my motorcycle buddy for quite a few years until we got too old to ride.
It's gonna take 85. Yeah.
Thank you, and I'm happy that BK could make it. He's after his retirement, he sold shoes, BK Sutton's ladies' shoes, high fashion stuff. He finally gave that up. Thank you very much.
Okay, who's next? Who's next? Guests, yes, any other guests? You already introduced your guests. Yeah, you want to introduce them again?
So glad to have Brian Hunford here. He's with Steve Bank. You see, Steve Banks, we're so glad to have him. He's a great member of organization, so we hope that he will come back and join us again the Rotary. Thank you for being.
Okay, and I'm going to, I haven't gotten to it yet. And my special guest today is my husband, Dave Mean, who has joined us many times, and he and I both met in the Air Force, so we're both veterans. So let's move on. I am not going to go through all of the dates and things that we have coming up because I keep running out of time at the meetings. So, but please look at the card that's on your table. There's a whole list of dates at the bottom. Pull out your phone and sign up. So, for my thought for today, I found a quote from John F. Kennedy. As we express our gratitude to our veterans, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. And that's what we do as Rotarians. We don't just say service above self, we do service above self. We don't just say unite for good, but we do unite for good. And with that, if you'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, the itinerary or agenda, itinerary, I don't know, I'm thinking about travel. The agenda says new member videos. Well, we put them off last week because we ran out of time. And we're putting them off one more time because we're having technical difficulties. So I apologize for that, but be here for the next meeting to see those exciting new member videos. And with that, I will turn it over to.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Carfoy, and along with Nick Say, we collect the blue buckets at your table, which supports cash or coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, or CART. If you're not aware of it, it's a Rotary Southern States initiative that started in South Carolina and is now spread to about 11 states, whose primary objective is to extend the lifespan so individuals will not receive Alzheimer's as they get older. One doctor at Emory University looked at me and said, I want everyone to die of a heart attack at 123. But then Alzheimer's would not be part of their vocabulary. But it is more a member of all our vocabularies. Who all here has had a family member or has had to deal with Alzheimer's? That's just about everybody. Alzheimer's has affected many families, about 7 million currently, either directly or through relatives in marriage. Over the past decade, genetic testing can give people who has had Alzheimer's in their family the ability to test and see if they carry the mutated gene. Unfortunately, there is no cure, and there's no treatment. So the test has really not been accepted all that well, and that's where CART comes into play. CART has invested significant resources to alter that reality. In recent years, the antibody therapies such as Leqembi have demonstrated the potential of slowing cognitive decline by removing the amyloid plaques, basically insulation inside your brain. Additional medications are made to increase the transmission power of the brain. Furthermore, other research has discovered that the brain has lithium that occurs naturally that helps those electronic impulses. And you even may be familiar with seeing a drug on television called Rexulti, which is an FDA-approved medication that takes care of one of the symptoms of Alzheimer's, which is agitation, is anger. That helps them to deal with that. CART operates with other organizations, obviously. Many of you have participated in the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And Bill Gates has just announced that he is putting about a little more than 300 million of his own money into these medications. There's a lot of proactive steps you can take, and those include a nutritious diet, reducing your sugar intake, engaging in regular physical activity, ensuring sufficient sleep, and fostering social connections. The new thing they're pushing now is reminiscence therapy. Look at your old photographs, music, personal mementos, and that helps benefit cognitive replacement and helps exercise your brain in places it normally doesn't get exercise. So lastly, the thing that we need more than anything else, Cart, is consistent financial support. Please consider contributing cash at the bucket each meeting. And for the past 5 years, the members have generously matched the meeting contributions. And if you're interested in matching donations for 2 meetings, please inform Nick or I, and we'll get you set up. You get to pick the month. I'm already covering this month. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a little bit excited because it's my first time at the podium, but let's see how it goes. Today, I would like to share with you the great opportunities you have and the great power you have when talking about Rotary. Sometimes a small spark or short conversations can ignite something big. To show you what I mean, I brought a little something for each of you. Everybody will receive a little crane. In Japanese tradition, the crane stands for hope, teamwork, and that the idea that small efforts together can create something big and meaningful. These cranes also remind us of our sister club in Fukui, Japan, and it shows us how wonderfully Rotary connects Rotarians all over the world. Everybody of you contributes special character traits, special talents to our club to make it special and meaningful. And the easiest way to make our club even better and even bigger is to talk about Rotary. And before anybody asks, I didn't fold the 100 cranes all by myself. I tried, but it took me an hour to fold 4, and then I know that I needed help. And luckily, I found somebody who was much faster than I. So just like these cranes, each of us contributes a different special ability to the club. And when you talk about Rotary and invite people to discover Rotary, there are 2 sessions coming up in November, on the 18th and on the 25th. And that's a very strong way to promote our club. Don't worry, you don't have to give a TED talk. You don't have to memorize any Rotary history. You just approach the people you know, let them know, please come, have a look, lunch is on us, and everything else will be taken care of by our team. So please take 1 crane, keep it as a symbol that small actions are very powerful, and if we all work together, we can create something big. And maybe this little crane reminds you to invite somebody you know to one of the upcoming Discover Rotary sessions. And feel free to tell them about the crazy German who thought I think 100 cranes very fast. So let's spread the joy of Rotary. 1 crane, 1 conversation, and 1 lunch at a time. Anne-Marie? So switching from cranes to Christmas.
We're here to talk about the holiday fair. By now, everybody knows the dates of the holiday fair. It's December 4th.
20 months except for us.
So Rusty and I are doing since one codes, we're co-chair. But the holiday fair in general is actually providing a percentage of the tickets to the Rotary, to benefit the Rotary. So, we have, some major sponsors that Jane has drummed up for us, but we, have actually exceeded those goals. And so we're still looking for more members, to encourage ticket sales for a holiday fair and for other items like the auction and the raffle. So,
All right, y'all are tired of hearing me, but I'm gonna talk about this one more time. There you go. Look at that incredible graphic. So on Sunday, that's Sunday, December the 7th, at 10 a.m., come to the holiday fair. $50. You get champagne. You get a free ticket to the holiday fair. You get free parking. You get champagne. You get a pastry. You get, look at that. It's incredible for $50. Come on. And then I mentioned you get champagne. So if you want to be a part of the most exciting holiday kickoff ever to happen in Greenville, I will see you there on Sunday. It's Sunday, December 7th, 10 to 12. Come on, let's do it. This is the one thing, one of the like three things. Our club can make the most money on this because we got to take a percentage of the holiday fair and all this. This is our money. So y'all come, have fun. See you at the brunch. Tinsel and toast, be there.
Mimosas with cranberries, so there are 47 mimosas. And we are having free parking, all inclusive for the tinsel and toast event.
So it's me again. Besides all the fantastic activities that we have planned, we are going to have two booths at the holiday fair. We are going to have one merchandise booth and one Rotary awareness booth. At the Rotary awareness booth, it was very important to us not to just inform about Rotary, but really show what Rotary is all about. So we came up with a wonderful service project. Thank you, Shannon Sports, for connecting me with your colleague at Upstate Warrior Solutions. And we are planning on writing 1,000 letters to American heroes. Upstate Warrior Solutions is going to help us distribute the letters to veterans, active service members, and first responders. And I thank them in advance for all the support. So if you feel like writing cards, stop by the Rotary booth. In order for you to see what we are going to sell at the merchandise booth, we prepared a little setup right in front of the room. Please look through it. Maybe you have kids, grandkids, neighbors. You would like to get a little something for. Today is not about selling anything. We just wanted to encourage you looking at these things and knowing what we have and telling everybody about us. It will be a wonderful opportunity to raise money for our club in a very fun way. Can I get the next slide? Here you see the current status of the holiday fair. As mentioned, we are very good with sponsorships. Thank you everybody who sponsors us. We will see in a second all the wonderful sponsors who decided to do that. You can see that at the silent auction, we have the goal of offering 100 items. We are currently at 64. I'm very happy to announce that we even have updated numbers that volunteer-wise, we are 70% full, which is fantastic. For example, the Saturday is completely filled with volunteers. And we also have a 50-50 raffle at the silent auction as that coming up. So be curious, check out the website, and we are looking forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much.
Okay.
with our speaker today. And this Veterans Day is a perfect person. In my time in Tampa, I had the great fortune to get to know many of the top generals that you've heard, Madison, Petraeus, that have served our nation. And what I found that there was a common denominator, was a spark of dedication to our nation, and even more to the men and women who have served under their leadership. You will get to hear from one of those men who served, and when his time was up and he retired from active duty, he did not retire from his obligation. Keep serving those people who stood up to defend the nation. So let me share his background. Lieutenant General Thomas James Jr., and by the way, Lieutenant General is the second highest you can get up in the military command, was a career Army officer, armor and cavalry, combat maneuver background. He retired from the active duty in August of 21 after 36 years of active service in leadership positions through platoon leadership, through field Army levels, and his professional knowledge, skills, and attributes have largely been shaped by the extraordinary leaders and brave soldiers whom he served, often in extreme intense situations. That's Tom for you. He always wants to make sure you know that it was someone else that made him great himself. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the Citadel. He's a Master of Military Science from the U.S. Army School of Advanced Military Studies at Fort Leavenworth. A Master of National Security and Strategic Studies from NDU, National Defense University in Washington. He's still currently serving in many ways in support and training of our nation's generation of leaders. He's a member of the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition National Security Advisory Council. And he's also, he said he was a board member of an organization called We're Blue. He's not a board member, he's the chairman. But he didn't say that in his thing. That's Tom for you. And he's going to talk to you about that. And Tom and Shelley, his wife, have been married for 37 years and have a family of 5. And they are from originally in Greenville. So it is a pleasure to introduce my good friend and one of my heroes, Tom James. My goodness, Rob. I'm going to try to get mobile for a second. Thank you. Yeah, as Rob just said, my name is Tom James, and I am a proud Greenville native, and I am a soldier for life. And I'm honored to be here today with all of you, but specifically my dad is here with me, Tom Sr., who is also an Army veteran. Now, there was a saying that we had in my last command in the Army, that we all stood on the shoulders of giants. And those giants are represented in this room. And I really appreciate your service, sir, and what you did in the Air Force. Sir, what you did in Korea as an armor officer, that's pretty doggone cool. We'll talk more about that here in a second. But I did move back, and everybody else that has served in the service, and I'll do an inventory here in a second. But in September of 21, I moved back to Greenville, just after we had 36 years and some change on active duty in the Army. And I love coming home. Downtown looks a little different than it did when I was 5 years old, walking with my grandmother, or even coming in this hotel. But it reminds me of a story that often pops back into my head when I come to Greenville, about 2 ladies that were walking down the Swamp Rabbit Trail alongside the Reedy River. And as they were walking, they approached a giant frog. And the frog looked up and said, "Ladies, if you kiss me, I'll turn into a handsome and intelligent general." So the first lady looks at the other and scoops up the frog and throws it in her handbag, and they continue to walk. The other lady says, "Well, are you going to kiss it?" And she goes, "Hell no, a talking frog is worth a hell of a lot more than a talking general."
So I tell you that in jest, but I tell you that because I am very humbled to be before you today. You know, service takes many forms. This day is dedicated to recognizing those that served in our armed forces honorably. And so we're going to recognize those. But in this format and in this community that's generated around the Rotary, that is service. Service above self. I just happen to be an extremely proud father of a daughter who is a school teacher. We talk about Alexander Elementary. She is at Liberty Elementary School, and she is a kindergarten teacher. And I spoke last week in her kindergarten class about Veterans Day. Now, I'll tell you, I was a brigade commander during the surge in Iraq, commanded about 5,000 soldiers spread south of Baghdad in the Triangle of Death. That was a hell of a lot easier than being a kindergarten teacher. Really do appreciate the service of those that may not have served in the armed forces, but serve otherwise. Like Rob talking about being in Nepal and those kinds of things. And that's just representative of some of the things that go on here. So what I'd like to do first is I want to do an inventory real quick. You just keep your seats, but I'm going to go around the horn to see how many veterans we have related to our services. And a veteran is in this category: one that served in the armed force, a family member of those that served in the armed force, or a widow or widower of a veteran. When I mention your service, just raise your hand if you're associated with service in that particular organization. Let's start up here with the United States Army. How many served in the Army? Absolutely. And family members that supported? Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Next one is the Air Force. I wish I could hum the songs, but I'm not that good. Thank you for your service very much. This will be an interesting one. Any Guardians do we have out there? Space Force. It's pretty new. I think it's roughly 6 years old, but very important. United States Coast Guard. Any Coast Guard coasties out there? Okay. United States Marines. Semper Fi, happy birthday one day late. 250 years of service to our great nation. Semper Fi. Nobody you want more on your flank in combat than the United States Marines. And United States Navy. Right. Sailors, oh, thank you for your service. Very, very special. And it's good, it's great to be with you here today. Now I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about Veterans Day in general. And then I'm going to talk to you about my Army story as it relates to Veterans Day. Then I'll talk about kind of where I see the state of play in the world today, the environment, and how it impacts our military. And then I'll talk a little bit about the special organization that I'm a part of that Rob introduced, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. And then I'll wrap up. Yeah, okay, so this is Veterans Day. So what are we talking about? It is a national holiday on the 11th of November to honor those that served honorably in the armed forces of the United States. And most of all of you know that it was originally associated with the end or the armistice of World War I that was signed on the 11th day of the 11th month. And so that's why we associate it with the 11th hour as well. So the 311s are associated with the 11th of November. And it was originally called Armistice Day. It's called Armistice Day and Remembrance Day in other countries. But in 1954, we changed it to Veterans Day because guess what? World War I was not the war to end all wars, as many of you in this room know. It was not that way. And so we formed in 1954 Veterans Day to honor all of those that served honorably. And the president was General Eisenhower. Absolutely. Correct. Okay. There are 17.6 million, roughly, veterans in the United States today. That represents 7% of our adult population, just to give you a data point. So my Army story. When I think about my career in the Army, 3 words come to mind: service, sacrifice, and community. And I want to introduce you to my family. And this is just one small example of what our veterans and their families go through. This is my family in the bottom left on this chart. I met my wife, in 1986 in Manhattan, Kansas. I was at Fort Riley, my first duty assignment, and I fell in love with her there, and God blessed us with 3 kids and gave them to us 4 years apart. 36, 32, and 28, 2 boys and the teacher that I talked to you about earlier. But let me just highlight the teacher. Maddie on the end here, 4 high schools, 3 middle schools, 10 schools in 12 years. Our last move home to Simpsonville was our 27th move. My oldest son, Trey, his senior year in high school, I was deployed in Operation Iraqi Freedom 1, so I missed his senior year. And our middle son, Zach, moved just before his senior year from Fort Stewart, Georgia to Fort Benning, Georgia. And so that just goes to show you on one end of the family sacrifice so that I could pursue my passion in the profession of arms. And so that's the family I wanted to introduce you to. So let me take it back a bit. Let's talk about service, sacrifice, and community. There's a reason that I start this chart off with that caricature in the middle. That is Second Lieutenant James, commissioned as an armor officer out of the Citadel in 1985, reporting into Fort Riley, Kansas, 3rd Battalion, 37th Armor Regiment. And our medical platoon leader, named Nam Pham, drew that caricature. And Nam Pham and his family escaped Vietnam near the end of the Vietnam War on a boat and became United States citizens. Now, I was not serving when in Vietnam, but I grew up as a kid watching on the news the fight in Vietnam. And it impacted me personally and drove me towards wanting to serve. And then when I entered the service and Second Lieutenant James reports to his platoon at Fort Riley, Kansas, meets up with Sergeant First Class Paul Blair, platoon sergeant out of Lakeland, Florida, 3 tours of duty in Vietnam with the 1st Cavalry Division. Had a big scar across his face, and you talk about a lieutenant that was like, oh my goodness. There's a reason God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth. I'm going to listen to this man because he's done it all. And he took the lieutenant under his wing, and I was able to learn every day from him. So that's one way that someone that was in the Army in 1985 was impacted by the Vietnam experience. Well, there were other reasons as well. We learned a lot about how to receive servicemen and women when they come home. We learned about what our body armor should look like when we're in a close fight. We learned about how to treat the casualties at point of need so that they can survive better. There's all kinds of things we did. So if you could just raise your hand again, our Vietnam veterans, I want to thank you for all that you did for our great nation, and I'm honored to be a part of it and be impacted on. Now let's go to service. It is not lost on me, or should be on anyone, that less than 1% of our able population raise their right hand and say, I want to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Never before has the largest responsibility rested on the shoulders of so few. And so that's why we say thank you for your service, both active and those that have retired or gotten out of the service and are veterans. It's important that we recognize that because it's important. The upper right chart are soldiers from 3rd Battalion, 7th Infantry Cotton Balers. And that's me talking to them as a brigade commander during the surge in Iraq, and that's in a place called Iskandariyah. And I am talking to them before we do a major combat operation against a threat of Al-Qaeda that we're in a place called Kidder. And so we're conducting our first op. We had just deployed in, drawn all our equipment, and we moved out in that way. And so we lost soldiers in that operation. But if you look at them, they're all young, very young soldiers that were committed and raised their hand saying, I want to serve, knowing the risk that they took and the importance of what they were doing to protect the great freedoms that we enjoy as a nation. Now, let me highlight real quick on my career path that I talked about. I talked about Vietnam, but I joined the Army in the Cold War. And our mission at Fort Riley was to deploy into Germany, go to Karlsruhe, draw our tanks, M60A1s back then, which are dinosaurs now. But we would move out to the border and we would be looking to our tank sites at the Soviet horde, ready to fight them in Central Europe. Do you think I'm paying close attention to the Russo-Ukraine war right now? Absolutely I do, because we were ready to fight. And then I went back to Germany later in my career as a captain in '89, and the wall collapsed in the Soviet Union. And we had these brigade war plans on how we were going to fight the Russians. And we're looking at them and go, what do we do with them? Feed them through the shredder, send them off to historians, or should we keep them? Maybe reposition them to Poland. I don't know. No, so that was the kind of thing that we had to deal with. So the Cold War ended. We weren't sure what we were going to do in Aschaffenburg, Germany. Well, we got the call and we deployed as the advanced guard of 1st Armored Division in Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And we fought the Republican Guard for about 4 days out. We went out of Saudi Arabia, fought in Kuwait and in Iraq, and really defeated Iraqi forces because they withdrew, or they destroyed or withdrew back into Iraq. And so the reason we were so successful then was because of the air-land battle doctrine that had evolved out of the fight in Central Europe against the Soviet horde. It never happened, but we prepared for it, and it showed in the desert. And so we went from impacted by Vietnam, fighting the Cold War, into the Cold War, into Desert Shield and Storm, and then we cycled into the global war on terror. And I was a battalion commander in 1st Battalion, 37th Armored Regiment in Freiburg, Germany, where Elvis served. And we were conducting a command and staff meeting when we heard that 2 airplanes had collided into the World Trade Center and one into the Pentagon. And within hours, we were securing the entire United States footprint in the Freiburg area and Ray Barracks. And then later after that, we deployed on Operation Iraqi Freedom 1 into Baghdad. And so that kind of dominated my career for the rest of the time I was in the Army, until when I commanded the 7th Division at Joint Base Lewis McChord. I got orders to go be the J3 in Korea. And so we shifted to an Indo-PACOM focus at that point in time. And to borrow President Trump's term, Little Rocket Man was shooting rockets towards Japan and testing his nuclear devices. And we thought we were going to fight in Iraq next Thursday. I mean, sorry, not Iraq, Korea. We thought we were going to fight next Thursday. It was that quick. General Milley was the chairman. We reset the theater. Actually, he was the Army Chief of Staff before he was the chairman. And we reset the theater, ready to fight. And by the grace of God, it didn't happen. But we still have a Indo-PACOM focus. So that's really the service and part of my career. I want to talk for a second about sacrifice. So we know that service and Veterans Day and loss and Memorial Day are 2 separate events, but they're linked, can't separate. Because you think about it, most of those that gave their last full measure are associated with a veteran friend that was impacted. And so it's very important. As a general officer in the United States Army, there was a rule that if a soldier was killed in combat, a general officer would present the flag to the family on behalf of a grateful nation. I did 8 of them across the country. And that is service as part of the Army at large. I lost way more than that in my command as a brigade commander during the surge. But you think about that loss and you watch the anguish and the pain that their families endured. And pain due to loss is not linear. You don't just travel along and all of a sudden it goes away and you're good to go. It comes in bursts. And so you never get over it. You learn how to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is community. The power of community. I don't know how many of you ever listened to or read any of his books. David Brooks. He's got a saying that I really like that says, life is a series of explorations from a secure base. And for many people, most people, that secure base is your family, your immediate family. But it can be larger than that too. It can be Rotary Club. It can be Upstate Warrior Solution. It can be other things where you get that energy and power to allow you to do these explorations to Nepal or whatever it may be. And so the power of community is so important. And then the last thing I'll tell you about this chart, I just had to put the tank up there. That's an M1A1 main battle tank Abrams. And I enjoyed being in the Army for 36 years and getting paid to blow stuff up. I mean, how cool is that? If you think about it. And so I really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, they call general officers generalists because you leave your base branch and become a general. So you got to know a little bit about everything, but you don't get to fly around in cool tanks and blow stuff up as much. But that was part of what I did, and that was a cool part of it. Okay, so just a couple of quick thoughts in general about your armed forces and what they do for this great country. And so you can see that the threat is pretty clear. You can see that on the news. You can read it in the National Military Strategy, National Security Strategy. Our pacing threat in our country is China. And when we talk about China, it's just not military. We call it the instruments of national power. Diplomatic, information, military, and economic. All of those instruments need to be synchronized to go against that pacing threat. And so that's what we work on in the military. That's what we're focused on. When I retired from the Army, they hired me back on part-time as a civilian advisor. We do large-scale simulation exercises focused on Division Corps and Theater Army echelons. And we do a lot of work with the Pacific Theater, Indo-PACOM, and what that looks like and how we handle things in that theater. And so that is our pacing threat. Obviously, keeping an eye on Russia, Iran, North Korea, and the violent extremists will always be out there, and we've always got to be ready for it. And so we're focused on the Pacific, but we're also shifted somewhat to the Western Hemisphere because really our number one priority is protecting the homeland. And you can see that on the news as well, whether it be drugs, it be other things. The Army has restructured itself to better support that activity. And so that's what we're focused on. And then for all of you that are not Army, it is a joint force fight. All of the services synchronized across the domains of air, land, maritime, sea, cyber, and space. I love talking to kindergarten students about the domains. So what does the Air Force do? What does the Navy do? Because it's really bringing all of that to bear at the decisive point to be able to win our fight. And the idea is to be so good at that we never, ever have to do. And so that's the focus. Maintaining the strongest military in the world requires resources, support, and innovation. We can't just say we're the best and sit back. We got to keep fighting to be the best. And I know most of you have seen on the news all about autonomy and the drones and Ukraine and the ground unmanned systems. They're incredible. But I will caution everybody, when you think about those systems, they need to augment formations, not replace them. Because I really believe you need a human in the loop that understands that and pulls it all together and has values and character and can adapt and do those kinds of things. And we got to be careful because Ukraine doesn't have the world's greatest air force to support their operation. So if you had that, would you do things a bit different? And so we got to learn from those lessons. We're doing 3D printing to crank out drones right and left. We got a new MOS, military occupational specialty, to develop leaders to be able to fight in that environment. So we're doing all the right things there. It's going to take time. And the biggest risk, I was in a meeting not too long ago when the chief of staff of the Army was asked, what is your biggest risk right now? He says, not being able to innovate fast enough before the next fight. What we call it is large-scale combat operations, LSCO. And so we've gone from this counterinsurgency fight in Afghanistan and Iraq to now really focusing on large scale and what does that mean in the future. Okay, and so I've got just a couple more charts. This is just how can we help? And I'm preaching to the choir because I'm sure y'all all understand this. But really it is when you thank those that serve in the armed forces on Veterans Day and any other day, never, ever forget their families. Never forget their sacrifice that they have made for our country as well. The second one is support the programs that support our veterans. Those that could have, scarred from the unseen wounds of war. people that need medical help, people that need housing, people that need all kinds of support to be able to build a quality of life. Any help with that would be greatly appreciated. And to keep pushing service to, not necessarily, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to have a roster and sign everybody up to the Army in this room, but you got contacts. Continue to push that. The United States Army has 300 MOSs, 300 jobs you can do in the Army, ranging from infantry and shooting things to cooks in the dining facility, to finance, to cyber. It does all kinds of things. And we give more college scholarships than any organization in the United States. And the Air Force and others do the same, but the other services do those kinds of programs as well. Worth looking into. I keep pushing it at the Citadel. I'm surprised that people go to a military college and don't go ahead. 43% of the senior class graduating from the Citadel is commissioned in the armed services. I did the commissioning in 2019 there and in Clemson. Let's get those stats. It's quite interesting. And so support's great. Okay, next year. Okay, so I just want to take 2 minutes to talk about the nonprofit that I am a part of. And I want to make sure everybody can see these charts. So I am the chairman of the board of an organization called Wear Blue, Run to Remember. And it all starts in the upper right-hand corner, right here. That extraordinary woman's name is Lisa Hallett. She met her husband, John, in elementary school in California. They got married after John graduated from West Point. John was a company commander of Bravo Company 117 Infantry Buffaloes, 5'2" striker out of Fort Lewis, Washington. And in 2009, he was killed in southern Afghanistan by a roadside bomb when he was on a humanitarian mission. Everyone in his combat vehicle were killed. That's his family. His little daughter, Heidi, it's Jackson, Bryce, and Heidi. The little daughter, Heidi, he never met. So Lisa had Heidi when he was deployed in Afghanistan. She was conducting a company FRG, Family Readiness Group meeting in the company orderly room. And Heidi was in the baby car seat by her side when the chaplain came in and said, Lisa, we need to talk to you outside. In 2009, she found out that she had lost her husband in Afghanistan. And so she had to deal with the grief. Not just her, there were 41 deaths in that organization. And so what she did, she's also, just as a side note, she's an ultra athlete. She's done the Ironman in Hawaii 8 times. But that's special. But that's not what's really special about her. Her heart is the size of Mount Rainier. And so what she did is she started a group in the morning that would form up with the blue t-shirts from their husbands that they used to wear physical training in the morning before they deployed. And they would run and communicate with each other and deal with grief. And so in 2010, that was all bottled up, and Wear Blue, Run to Remember was. And so I met her when I was the 7th Division Commander at Joint Base Lewis McChord. Our daughter, Maddie, the school teacher, was her part-time nanny for 2 years, watching those 3 amazing Gold Star kids. And so I've been an avid supporter ever since. A year ago, she asked me to be the chairman of the board of Wear Blue. And I said, Lisa, I'm 110% committed, but I'm about 60% effective because I know how to write tactical operations orders, but I don't know anything about a nonprofit board. But I've been learning every day, and she's been helping me, and it's just a very special thing. So I just wanted to highlight that for you. A couple of quick things. There are 5 programs within Wear Blue, and I've just highlighted 3 on this chart. Bottom right is the Gold Star Youth Mentorship Program. So we have servicemen and women that mentor Gold Star family members. We had a Gold Star camp. I provided 25 mentors for that when we're out in Washington State. And it's an extraordinary program that helped these young kids deal with loss. Moving to the left, that tribute mile. We do a tribute mile at major races throughout the country. That particular one, a couple of weeks ago, was on Haynes Point in Washington, D.C. on the Marine Corps Marathon. Mile 12 to mile 13, I know it very well because I ran it. It kicked my butt, but running through that mile with 600 posters of our fallen, with 600 flags and 275 volunteers supporting it. Pretty special program, just to understand. But foundational to everything we do in Wear Blue is the circle of remembrance and the community run. The communities all over, I think there's 25 throughout the United States that honor Wear Blue in honor of the fallen of our servicemen and women. So why do I tell you that? This is Wear Blue Greenville. So about 4 months ago, my wife and I started a community here. We started down in Cleveland Park. We started right to the side of the Vietnam Memorial. And the activity, the way we do this is we assemble and we read the names of the fallen that would died in the global war on terror on that day over time. We remember their names, and then we go on a 1.5 mile run, walk, roller stroll out to a turnaround point and back. And then we socialize and leave. And so that's what Wear Blue is all about. And so you can see here, this is Bob Vale. I don't know if y'all know Bob Vale, a Marine, 92 years old. And he is at the turnaround point. Now, we started in Cleveland Park at the Vietnam. Well, the city says, no bueno, you can't do that anymore. So they moved us to the Flying Rabbit. Does anybody know where the Flying Rabbit is? I didn't until they put us there. And so we assemble on the lawn underneath the zip liners. But it's right behind Home Team Barbecue and, was it Stamp Food? Double Stamp, yeah. It's a great place. Double Stamp Brewery, absolutely. And so we assemble, do the circle, and then we go off on the Swamp Rabbit Trail to the Vietnam Memorial, turn around and come back, and it's about right at 5K. And I think we have about 60% walkers. Some wear rucksacks, some run, and then we honor the fallen. And it's just been a great opportunity. And I'm here recruiting. So we'd love to have you. It's next term. This is our flyer, and we got to get a new one because we just finished our Veterans Day this past Saturday, and we partnered with Upstate Warrior Solution. Charlie Hall has been really good to us, and we support each other. And then the next one is December 6th. We assemble at 0900 down there. We got all kinds of blue signs and the posters of the fallen, just so if you want to come out there. And I'll make sure that y'all have access to this, and we'll post more because it'll be every month as we go out. Okay, next chart. And this is my last chart. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to talk to you today and share a little bit of my veteran story. I am Tom James, a proud American, a proud Greenville native, a soldier for life, and just honored to serve. And I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for your service and what you do for our great country and this organization. Thank you for bringing it.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. He has a great memory of all the things that he's done, that he's been. We did have him sign a book for us. That is our gift to him as a speaker, that he gets to sign our book that goes to Alexander Elementary. And if you would all stand for the 5-way test. And now that I have you standing, we're going to sing a quick happy birthday to Jane, because I always think it's very impressive that people show up to a Rotary meeting on their birthday. So we're going to sing it really fast. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jane. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Okay. And the 5-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair for all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned? Will it
be fun? Thank you.